Hey, so we're back. Hi, I'm Rebecca Hemmings, the CEO of Strawberry Words Training Consultancy based in Birmingham, UK, and we specialize in creating harmonious cultures within organizations, particularly around the area of anti-racism. So I hope you've been enjoying the podcast so far, and if you haven't heard the previous episodes, I suggest you go back and listen from the beginning, because you'll, as well as me educating people and exploring the topic of anti-racism and diversity, equity and inclusion, I'm telling the story of Strawberry Words, my own journey, the journeys of marginalized people, and it just helps to fill in the gaps. Okay, so it's always worth going through episodes that you haven't previously. Now, I got a confession to make. I'm sorry, but I've got a confession to make, and I've got to make it now. So, on the first episode, I said proudly and loudly that these podcast episodes will be released every Tuesday. And I really meant it. I felt it in my heart. I did. That was my true intention. But I've got to be so honest. I'm realistic and kind to myself. And we're busy. We're very busy. Not only I delivering talks and workshops, but I'm managing a team of people that are doing that, as well as Chantal. Hi, Chantal, our executive, my executive assistant. And so a lot's happening, and I've just got to be realistic about the frequency at which I can make these, get them edited and get them promoted and all of that. So I think what's more realistic is once every 2 weeks. That I can see that happening. That can definitely happen. And that means that I'm far less likely to fall flat on my face and just say, I can't do this anymore. All right. So, you know, that's part of our ethos as a company, is that we are kind and compassionate, not only with the people that we're working with, but also with ourselves. So I just gotta say that right now. Okay. In case you're sitting there every Tuesday morning and wondering next Tuesday morning, like, what's going on? Where's the episode gone? Like, hasn't gone anywhere. I'm changing it to bi-monthly. That's all. Right. So what are we talking about today? Well, I wanted to talk about microaggressions. Anyone who knows me, anyone who's worked with me will know that this is a topic I'm super duper passionate about. I'm passionate because once I really got into reading about them, it was like, oh my gosh, like a whole world had opened up. A lot of questions that I'd had in my mind for years had finally been answered as to why I'd been treated in certain ways, or why people who look like me were treated in a particular way. And, you know, I could actually categorize some of those behaviors, and I'll talk about those shortly. And I could find ways to counteract them. And I swear, it was just like, oh my gosh. I don't know. It was just, I can't even put into words the relief that I felt. Relief because, and I know, you know, a lot of ethnic minorities, a lot of Black and ethnic minorities experience this when they find out about microaggressions. I felt like I wasn't going crazy. I felt like I wasn't going crazy. I mean, that in itself is just huge, because so often you're led to believe that, you know, it's all in your head. You know, you're being oversensitive. You know, stop being a drama queen and stop being divisive. All of this, and you're questioning yourself, like, is it me? Did I get that wrong? You know, I guess maybe it must be me, but I'm pretty sure that that's what that meant, and it keeps happening. And so you're constantly questioning, you know, you have these intrusive thoughts, and you're thinking, what? There's no clarity. So finally, when learning about microaggressions, man, like, I'm feeling it right now, like, oh my gosh, like, when learning about microaggressions, I finally got validated. I finally realize that I'm sane. And contrary to what some people believe, I'm human and I'm allowed to experience sadness, upset, be offended by these microaggressions. So, okay, these podcast episodes, they're never in replacement of a lecture or a lesson, but you will learn. Okay, so how I'm delivering this is not how I would do it in a class. It would be far more structured with exercises and all of that. And I guess what I'm saying also is that I'm not giving you the full picture because we don't have the time and we don't have the space for me to engage with you. But with all of these podcasts, if you have questions, feel free to comment. I always will post this. So they're always posted on our website, strawberrywords.co.uk. So if you're listening to this elsewhere on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, you can go to the website, strawberrywords.co.uk, go on the blog and podcast page, and underneath the specific podcast episode, you can comment. So anyway, what are microaggressions? Okay, in basic terms, they're subtle verbal and non-verbal cues that communicate to an ethnic minority that they are unwelcome, like, we don't want you here, invisible, who are we talking about? What? I can't see anyone. And incapable of performing well, you're stupid. And also that you're untrustworthy. Okay, let's not let them into everything. Okay, and so there are three different types of microaggressions. There are micro assaults, which are your more overt forms of racism, but it happens in a private setting. So for instance, calling somebody the N-word, knowing that you can't be overheard by anybody else. That's an example of that. You know, some people have come back to me and said, well, I can't see how that's a microaggression. I get it, because it is very overt. You know, using the N-word is, you know, very overt, but it's the private nature of it that makes it a micro assault. Then there are micro insults, which is like a rude or demeaning comment or behavior that basically disses somebody's heritage. Okay, so when people say, gosh, you're so confident. I get that one all the time. I gotta laugh because I think it's so rude. Really, because what people are not hearing when they say that. Now, firstly, let me go backwards. Now, one of the arguments against microaggressions, what the skeptics say is that, well, you know, anybody can be insulted. This is not just particular to ethnic minorities. Well, what the research says is that microaggressions happen to the same people on a regular basis, and it's a systematicity of these comments and behaviors that make them microaggressions. And if you're not on the receiving end of them, you're unlikely to see them. So, where was I going with this? So, yeah, so I was talking about micro insults. So yeah, you're very confident, Rebecca. Now, that's usually said to me. What's the meta communication there? What's really being said underneath that? Well, firstly, I see you. You're different to the norm. You're not white. And I want to comment on the fact, and actually I think I'm paying you a compliment. Right. But it's not. It's not a compliment, okay? Not when it happens time and time again. Because, yes, and I see you, you're not white, and most people, you're brown or black, and most people who look like you are not confident. I'm really surprised, and I feel the need to tell you this because I think I'm actually telling you something positive. Okay, now I don't take that particular microaggression that seriously anymore. I know that people have good intent. However, let's back up with this intent thing. So Impact trumps intent. I always talk about this. Yeah? Impact trumps intent. So no matter how well intended a statement or behavior was, it's about the harm that was caused as a result of that, what was said or what happened. Okay, so, and that's hard for people to wrap their heads around, especially when you feel as though you're doing something nice, but you have to acknowledge, or you don't have to do anything. But I need to tell you that our microaggressions are often informed by our unconscious biases. Okay. So, again, I go back to what I was saying, I think in the last episode when I was talking about unconscious bias, that, people will use the excuse that, since I'm not aware of my unconscious biases because they're unconscious, what can I do about them? There's nothing I can do. Well,